Hi, about time for another cooking video, I think. And this one we're going to make pork fillet stroganoff. Here are the ingredients. 250 grams of ordinary mushrooms sliced. Slice them as thinly as you like. I quite like them, well, I just slice them, as I can. This is half a pork fillet, which cost me £3.58. I can easily make 4 meals out of that one pork fillet. Some chicken stock. It's about 120 millilitres or 5/8 of a cup, it says on the side there. Some Dijon mustard and some cream. That's all we need. That's it. Those are the ingredients. Let's get cooking. Right, to cook it, I'm going to use this pan, which I actually bought before all the trouble kicked off. And it's the first thing I've ever bought that's Ukrainian. It's cast iron. You can take the handle off and put it in the oven if you want to use that method of cooking for whatever it is you're cooking. And you might have noticed I've had a new kitchen put in, so I've got an induction hob now. I'm going to have this meal with rice and runner beans or string beans if you like, but I'm going to cook those separately because I don't like cooking them without the extractor fan on with all this wood and what have you around. So I'm cooking this a bit in advance. So first of all, get some olive oil, good slurp. Heat it up. One of the advantages of the induction hob and cast iron is it gets very hot very quickly. And then get some of your slices of pork. Don't crowd the pan. Try not to get it to stick. Try not to let it stick, rather. Becomes spectacularly failing to do. And we just want to brown it off, basically. The secret of cooking this pork fillet is not to overcook it. So we're just looking for a nice brown colour. That one's a bit thinner and it's coming brown. There we go, that's browning nicely. Do that one a bit more on the other side. So as you can see, they're not cooking all the way through, I'm just browning them off. I don't want to do much more than that, to be honest. Because the last thing you want is toughness. Can't really use wet cloths to keep these induction hobs clean while you're cooking. It's a bit messy. Right, I'm happy with that. Especially that bit, which is thin. So I'm going to take them out of the pan. There's no sort of pinkness showing. Next lot. Yeah, this pork fillet costs £3.50 and it's easily enough for 4 meals for me. I did the other half as Well, there's another video on my feed that shows you how to make God, I can't think of the word at the moment. You know, you dip them in you dip them in flour, then egg, then breadcrumbs, and then I grill them, but a lot of people would fry them, or presumably put them in an air fryer these days. Do a touch more oil in there. We're going to have to put a bit more in when the mushrooms come along anyway. See, that's browned off straight away. This cast iron pan gets really hot really quickly. Again, try not to let it stick. This is not a non-stick pan, so obviously it's going to tend to stick. I'm actually happy with that one already. And that one. And that one. And that one. That one's really thin, that's going on. This one's a bit thicker. Okay, that's the pork bit done. Phew, turn it down a bit. Oops. But as you can see, it is smoking. Right, turn it down to 6. Then in the mushrooms go. I use lots of mushrooms basically to bulk the whole thing up. I've been eating a lot less meat, so you know, I'd rather have more mushrooms and less meat. I mean, that is 2 meals worth of meat for me now, whereas before, you know, I might eat 3 or 4 times that amount, but I've been eating a lot less meat, and I have lost over the last couple of years quite a lot of weight. That was the advantage of lockdown really, because I used to order from the butchers. He used to do these lockdown packages of meat, sort of various meats, and so that I didn't have to leave the house too much, I would string it out and, you know, make it last as long as possible by batch cooking and try and keep the spillage under control. And we're going to cook down these mushrooms until all the liquid has disappeared. We will release liquid at one stage, and we want to get rid of that. So I'll come back when the mushrooms are cooked, because this doesn't make the most riveting viewing, to be quite honest. It's going to take a minute or two. Okay, when the mushrooms start producing all this water, you see that steam? I've turned it up again a bit so that we can boil off this water quickly. Right, that's the vast majority of the water gone. We're down to 6. And as you can see, the mushrooms, you know, obviously they cook right down. Personal preference, that's how I like them. Okay, and now we're going to start adding the other stuff. It's very quick, this recipe. I mean, right. Chicken stock. You may prefer more or less. As I always say with these recipes, they're just a list of instructions of the order in which to do things. You might prefer it drier than that, you might prefer it wetter than that. However you prefer it, make it that way, because these are just guides. These, you know, a recipe is a guide. It's not something you have to follow, you know, to the nth degree, unless you're doing, you know, advanced French meringue making or something, and I assure you this isn't that. Okay, next thing we're going to add is the Dijon. I like 2 teaspoonfuls. Teaspoon. Okay, we're not on a high heat, just on a low heat. We're going to stir that in. And these are your basic, these are your basic stroganoff flavours. Mushrooms, Dijon. Okay. And now, I'm going to turn it right down. Actually, first of all, I'm going to turn it right down to 2. Just wait for it to stop bubbling a bit. Okay, and now I'm going to re-add. Look at all the stuff coming out of the pork. We want that. That's pork, with pure pork juice, pork flavour. In that goes. Okay, try and get this mixed in. And now we're going to add the final ingredient, which is the cream. Salt and pepper, obviously. Again, right, I'm quite weight conscious, so how much cream you add is up to you. I like about that much. Oh, yuck. And as I say, I'm going to eat this with rice, so the rice will soak up this juice. Again, being very careful not to overcook the pork, because that would have been, it's still warm from when I cooked it previously. Now, obviously, pepper, quite a lot, salt, give it a stir. Give it a taste. I'm the only one who's going to be eating this, so it doesn't matter if I... Ooh! Delish is all I can say about that. Absolutely delicious. And that, my friends, is that. I'm going to put the lid on, turn it down, off rather. It's cooked. I'm going to put it to one side because the pan is still, because it's cast iron, it's still very hot. So the next stage is to cook my rice and my string beans, or runner beans as we call them over here. Tidy up a bit. And that will be ready. Okay, well, I'll show you what the meal looks like when I put it all together. Okay, here we go. This is what it looks like plated up. I eat more or less everything out of a bowl these days. Do you remember that episode of The Simpsons where Marge puts her foot down and says, "This family is not eating from a trough"? Well, I couldn't find a trough. For me, the bowl works. I'm teetotaler, so I enjoy 1 glass of slimline tonic a day. And because I live on my own, I watch YouTube vids while I eat. YouTube has been really pissing me off recently. It's ad infested. It keeps on recommending ridiculous things that I'm not interested in. I must have told it not to recommend Minecraft channels about 1,000 times. And frankly, after I suffered a sort of nasty arthritis attack earlier this year, so I'm just not as mobile as I was, so I'm not releasing as many vids. If you're wondering why my output hasn't been so great. I'm just not mobile. In the spring, I'll be back out on the bike. And meantime, just, I don't know, town events, recipes. There we go. It's absolutely delicious. It really is good. Highly recommended. Quite economical when you think I'm going to get 4 meals out of a £3.50 piece of meat. And the mushrooms, they've gone up recently. They were 99p for 250 grams. Now they're £1.19. The cream is, I think, about £1 for one of those tubs. But again, it lasts multiple, like for my dessert, I'll probably have a banana with some raspberries and just a little drop of that cream on it. Absolutely delicious. I've given up on the local supermarkets for fruit and veg. Absolutely hopeless. If you look on my feed, you will see a vid where before Brexit I predicted our supply lines would collapse, and that is indeed what's happened. Supermarkets are useless for, my local one anyway is very poor for fruit and veg, and I get 90% of fruit and veg as much as I can from. We're fortunate to have a local market on Wednesdays and Saturdays where everything's much fresher and no more expensive. So there you go, that's it. Thanks very much indeed for watching. I will see you next time.